When folks have a tunnel vision, the only thing they can see is the outcome they've been conditioned into. Now, to some extent, people can't help it that they develop tunnel visions because that's how the fallen mind operates. Through relief seeking, we look for outcomes that appear to satisfy us and we cling on to them. So the only thing we see are things related to that outcome. All other things don't exist for us. We don't care about it. We couldn't care about it because we don't even perceive it. Now, one part of being renewed in your mind is that you forfeit tunnel visions. Why? Because tunnel visions limit your human capacity. You can't walk by faith and at the same time operate in a tunnel vision. That's not going to work. Walking by faith excludes operating in tunnel visions. Now, why do people cling on to tunnel visions? Because it grants them a sense of security, or better said, a sense of control. And it's this sense of control that people are obsessed with. They don't want to let it go. For example, let's say you have a guy called Jeffrey. He used to get drunk often, cussed a lot, he got into fights, and he didn't even finish high school. So everyone around him felt good about themselves because they compared themselves to Jeffrey. So the sense of self depends on Jeffrey and other nobodies being nobodies. That's a tunnel vision. You're somebody, and how can they justify they're somebody? Because they're not like them, or they're not like Joe, or they're not like Susie, or not. You get what I'm saying here? So that's their tunnel vision. The moment this Jeffrey becomes the CEO of some Brazilian corporation, he learned Brazil by some course online, and through growing of his social capital, he managed to eventually end up in Brazil, and he ended up as CEO. But now the corporation is not that enormous, but still he's a CEO now. When folks heard this, those same folks that had a tunnel vision relating to Jeffrey, they become upset. You know why? Because now their sense of self that they have about themselves, which is the base how they relate to others, which is the base of all the relationships, collapses. See it as a pillar. If you have a building that rests on pillars, all the pillars need to be intact. If only one pillar is destroyed, whole building collapses. Nothing is safe anymore. Remove one pillar, and it's only a matter of time before the building falls apart. So, that's how it is with folks that hold on to tunnel visions. So this Jeffrey, the moment the people that have a tunnel vision relating to him find out the truth about how successful he is, they'll become upset. They don't want to hear about it. They deny it. They go into denial. Because the moment they have to revisit their ways of thinking, it's over. Their marriages will be affected, their social relationships, how they feel about themselves and others will be affected. It's all going to either collapse or a shift needs to take place. Now you may say, Rashid, they don't even care about this Jeffrey. Well, actually they do. As long as Jeffrey is non-existent and nobody, they are at ease. The moment he's somebody, they need to relate to him as somebody. But them being somebody's depend on him and some others being nobodies. So there's a conflict there. The conflict is with them. So that relief seeking, that self-validation clinging onto, they need to let go of it. But that means all their tunnel visions will have to go. And all the relationships, all the benefits, all the psychic incomes they have depend on those tunnel visions. So they will not fulfill those tunnel visions. So they become perpetrators towards Jeffrey. And if Jeffrey's not around, they will act out of frustration on someone else just to preserve their tunnel visions. To hold onto a tunnel vision is idolatry. To have a tunnel vision is one thing, often you're not aware of it. But to not want to realize it's a tunnel vision and to keep holding on to it, even when facts show you that there's no good in it, that's idolatry. And that's idolatry many folks are in. They hold on to tunnel visions. Now some of you who are listening to this, soon you will have folks acting out against you, very weird. They become angry with you and all of that. And you think what happened? Your progress, your deliverance, I'm saying your prosperity, shatters the foundation of their unexamined expectations. So now they're upset with you as if you're the one that attacked them. You didn't do anything to them. It's just that their foundations don't add up. But for them to revisit that and to change their mind, they will, they don't want to go there. So the only way for them to cope is by labeling you as the bad guy, or labeling you as the predator or whatever, so that they can preserve their tunnel visions. For example, let me say a tunnel vision is to do with your perception. Look, if you have a car that can only function with gasoline, then it's not a tunnel vision by saying we need gasoline. If we don't have gasoline, we can't move with this car. That is factual. That's not a tunnel vision, okay? A tunnel vision would be if someone told you that they have a 9-to-5 job and that life is very hard, and yeah, if you don't have work, you don't have something to eat, and you'll die because you're homeless. So his whole conditioning is you need to hand over your life to get a compensation, which is your paycheck, and with that you can operate. And then you show the guy, hold on a minute. This is just a system that has been established by our forefathers. It's not how things naturally are. Yes, in fact, we operate in it and it affects us, but it's not how it naturally is. And then you point out to him how there are other people who have multiple sources of income and that they use the spiritual to begin with, instead of working from their own mental and physical strength. Now, what happened now is that the other informed him. He shared his tunnel vision. His tunnel vision was you need to have a diploma, to have a 9-to-5 job, because without a job you don't have money, without money you can't live. That is tunnel vision. All other options he considered fantasy. He shook them off because that's not real. But his thing, his tunnel vision, his perception is not real. And it's a shock to him. But would he be happy with all the options and possibilities that are out there, all the wealth of options? If he wants to preserve the social validation society offers onto him, then he will be upset when his tunnel vision is crashed, because now he doesn't have an excuse anymore to complain. When he had that tunnel vision, it was easy for him. He could blame the system, he could blame everyone else. Now that he realized there are options, he needs to acknowledge that, okay, I was in a tunnel vision, that was not my fault, but now I need to stay away from the tunnel vision, and now I ought to look for deliverance. But now that I look for deliverance, my wife treats me differently. Some of my friends can't relate to me anymore because I'm not in the same darkness anymore. So a lot of things has to change and shift. But if he holds on to self-validation, he will feel threatened by all the changes that will come. So he will go into deep denial of the tunnel vision he's operating in. And that's how a lot of folks are. Without the tunnel visions, they have no idea who they are. They depend on the validation they get from others based on the tunnel visions. So they need others to be in a similar tunnel vision for them to be at ease. Not everyone wants to be free. Not everyone wants solution. Solutions, in some people's personal dictionary, that doesn't exist. Because they don't want to deal with the root of stuff. So the only thing they can do now, because they don't want to deal with the root, is to cope. And to cope successfully, they have to dump their waste energy somewhere. And preferred, they do it collectively, so nobody can come after them. And that's what society offers. Society offers a way to dump your negative energy and at the same time receive validation for it. That's what society is about. Society is the number one tunnel vision we are trained into. Now look, the tunnel vision has to do with your perception. Now some things are factual. For example, a car that's designed for gasoline is gasoline, okay? Our bodies need food and water. A pregnancy takes 9 months. So there are certain things that are just inherent. They're just the way it is. But then there are also things that are not just the way it is. It's just the way we've constructed them to be. That's the difference. But people often want to see the difference, because that would mean now they're responsible to forfeit all ways of thinking that are self-destructive. But that means also losing cherished ideas and cherished values that they cling on to. So I understand that a lot of folks are not ready nor willing to face tunnel visions. And listen what I'm saying. When folks persist in tunnel visions, they become stakeholders of violence. Because it's the denial of the human population that keeps the human population in this anxious state. And all the violence comes from this anxious state that humanity is in. So anyone that persists in a tunnel vision operates in denial, and therefore they are enabling and perpetrating this anxious state on the human population. So to hold on to tunnel visions means you become a stakeholder of violence. Because holding on to, clinging on to tunnel visions is first of all, it's not natural. It's not something you naturally would do. It's something the world trains you into. So it's idolatry. And folks are willing to go very far in this idolatry. Even onto things like genocide, child sacrifice, and cannibalism and all of that. Yes, they are. So, it's not something light. It's something quite serious, to be frank. Now, again, a tunnel vision has to do with your perception, okay? And again, just an example I give in the beginning of this recording, some folks not need out of natural need, but based on their unexamined expectation, they need to have you in a negative category, so they won't have to examine themselves or those around them, so they won't have to face any hard truths. Those truths aren't hard nor painful, it's painful to them because they're clinging on to a version of reality that's not reality. They operate in irreality, operate in a lie. Well, what do you do with folks that persist in tunnel visions? Such folks will transfer violence onto you, consciously or unconsciously, whether intended or not, that's what will happen. They will also transfer sickness onto you, disease, contention. So, in the beginning, they lose interest in you. First of all, they never had any real interest in you to begin with. That interest in their perception of you. And when you don't match their perception that they have of you, they begin to look for someone else to take so-called your place. And when that doesn't work, they'll try to dump their frustrations on you to limit you. Because when you hold on to the tunnel visions, it is because you hold on to a sense of control, which is pride. Because this sense of control can only exist as long as there's tunnel vision. And as long as others validate this tunnel vision, you are at ease. The moment the tunnel visions are challenged, there is an issue. That's why some folks will have issues against you, because you destroy their tunnel vision, you destroy their illusions. Well, that's it for this video. Again, keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.